All right, let's see if we can get Jope here. Jope, 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 not Hope.
All right. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Hi.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good. Good. I saw your test run video. I loved it. It was awesome.
Well, I wasn't sure. I never done this before, and I thought I don't know. And now I have my little ear thingies in, and I'm like, I don't know if that's better or not. So
I can
we'll
hear
just
you
see.
pretty well. I,
Okay.
I hear you well right now, so I think it's
Okay.
working.
Good. Good. How are you?
Not bad. Friday had a busy
Yeah.
week, so
Yes.
excited for the weekend. I have some like family plans going on. How
Nice.
about you? I saw
Nice.
you had a lot of puppies.
Yeah, yeah. So I have a little about myself. So I have six dogs at home, and I raise puppies every once in a while. About once a year, I have a litter of labs. Um, and this account that I have now has kind of grown to it's much more than just puppies. Puppies are awesome, but it's much more than that. And I think it's going to naturally go to hooking my people up with um, people and supplements and diets and things that will make their dogs live longer, live healthier lives. It just seems to naturally be going that way. I'm super holistic about dogs now, and what I believe is best for them. So I'm really picky about the stuff I use and the stuff I promote, and Jope is one of them. So I'm excited to learn more because honestly, I give it to my dogs, but I don't know a whole lot about it except that I like the results with Goose because Goose is the one that, is my limping dog and they work great. So I thought, this is going to work good for me because I don't really know a whole lot about it. So why don't you tell me about you and how you came up with it and the whole thing?
Yeah, of course. Well, so first off, I do want to say that Jeremy and I, so Jeremy's my co-founder. I'm Dr. Christine, co-founded Jope with Dr. Jeremy, and we have love working with you. I'm super grateful
Yeah.
to Wendy for introducing us, one of
Yes.
our common friends.
Yes.
You've been amazing, and your whole community has been outstanding. I actually
Yes.
recently met somebody who followed you and found Jope through you. It was Colin and Finway. I
Oh,
went to a rehabilitation
yeah.
center
Yeah.
and they mentioned that they found Jope through you, so I got to meet them, and it was
Yeah.
just like pretty cute.
Yeah, a full
Um,
circle moment.
exactly. So
Yeah.
I wanted to mention it today. But yeah, so I'm a French veterinarian. I was actually born in the U.S. and then moved to France when I was young. So my accent is French, but not
Uh-huh.
everybody can notice
Right.
it. And so Jope was actually born from a personal experience. I always wanted to be a veterinarian ever since I could remember, like, this tall,
Yeah.
maybe 3 years old or 4 years old. And so I actually always just wanted to help animals. Through becoming a veterinarian, I realized that, it goes further than that. When we're
Mhm.
helping improve the quality of life of dogs or cats, we're also helping people feel better
Yeah.
because we know how much we care about our dogs or cats. And I had a dog, Pepsi, who's kind of the pup who started the whole adventure.
Hmm.
He was my heart dog. I had him when I was growing up, and he suffered from OA, so osteoarthritis.
Yep.
I discovered the ingredients in Jope through caring for him. Like we tried a lot of different things, more Western medicine. So we had him on NSAID. We were doing physiotherapy, a lot of other things. But I just noticed that using the combination we now have in Jope was something that really helped improve his quality of life. And so today I work full time on Jope. We're a pet wellness company, and what we want to do is exactly kind of what you described:
Hmm.
is bring to the market products that are rooted in science. So we use scientific data to formulate. We try to make them as clean as possible too, from like an ingredients and
Right.
formula perspective.
Yep.
And then the goal is to, right now we have one product is the joint supplement you were showing,
Hmm.
and we want to bring more to market. Like our goal is to just help our furry friends live longer,
Yep.
but not just longer, healthier.
Right.
So
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's great. That's great. I did get a list of questions, but kind of a basic one that I never really would have thought of, which was great. Why is it called Jope?
Okay, do you want to take a guess?
I thought about it because you said Jeremy, so I'm like, oh, this must be like a Jeremy, and I'm like, no, she's Christine, so that doesn't work. That was my guess. So I don't know.
So actually, we wanted to find some really how do you say that, translated or mission in a simple way, and it's actually joy of pets. And we made it Jope so that it was just like shorter, but it stands for joy of pets.
That's great. I never would have guessed that in a million years. That's awesome. So I think the biggest question that most people have, well, there's two, but why, well, what is the main difference between Jope and like Dasuquin, or where it has the glucosamine, your basic things that's usually your go-to when a dog has arthritis or is becoming sore for whatever reason? Most people go to that. What is the difference between that product and your product?
So, so our product is very different from, I would say, 95% of other products out there, because we don't use glucosamine and chondroitin, which is, generally speaking, the base combination that companies rely on in order to help dogs feel better or have better joint health. The reason we didn't want to use these ingredients, which is in the brand you mentioned, is because there's much more studies that have come out since it's been about 20 years. These ingredients have been studied. And the unfortunate part of it is that all the studies that are conducted by third-party independent companies or researchers are showing that glucosamine and chondroitin are no more effective than a placebo. And so therefore it just means that basically they're not doing more for dogs than a treat would, for example. So I know some people use glucosamine and chondroitin for them. One big difference between human glucosamine and animal glucosamine or dog glucosamine is the type of glucosamine that is used. So in humans, it's usually sulfate, and in dogs and cats, it's hydrochloride. And that is important because it means that these, basically these two glucosamine are not the same and won't have the same way of acting. And so all the studies are showing that glucosamine and chondroitin are just not as effective as we once thought. And there are newer ingredients on the market, such as UC2, which is what we have in our product, as well as omega-3s and curcumin, that have newer studies that are showing positive results. And more importantly for you, for example, Aimee, who I know you do a lot of research, you think about things. The reason we chose omega-3s and UC2 specifically is they have studies where the scientists use an objective way of measuring the benefits of giving these products to dog. So have you heard of ground phosphate before?
No.
Okay, so if you look up some studies, you'll notice it. So it's called ground phosphate. It's basically like a long yoga mat. And because dogs can't express, how they feel or if they're any pain or discomfort, what happens is that they have this long mat that's like, maybe 8 or 10 foot long. Under there's electrodes, and what they do is they measure the pressure that dogs can put on their paw. So if a dog is painful, like when you say, they're limping, you'll notice they don't put as much pressure on the painful paw. And they also have a different stride. So you're measuring through a machine, basically their way of expressing pain. And it's a really powerful tool because it takes away the bias of humans. And UC2 specifically, so undernature type 2 collagen and omega-3s have shown positive benefits with this machine measuring the dog's way of walking and gait. And so those are two very, very, how do you say that, like powerful ingredients when it comes to joint health, because of this data that takes away the human bias and just gives us the results of giving these products over a certain period of time.
Right. I think that's important. That's key. Because even for me, when I first started this, Goose was limping, and I put him on the Dasuquin, and he was good. The limping stopped. It's great. Met you and started trying Jope, but I tried it for a couple of weeks, and he was limping again. And I'm like, oh, I can't have him get worse. So I'm going to take him off Jope, put him back on the Dachshund. And I don't know what happened, if we had talked more, or if I heard you talk to someone else about it, that you need some time. It needs some time to get into their system. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a go again, because I think this product is far superior to as far as the ingredients go, than the Dachshund. So I changed him again. I'm like, I'm going to give it 3 months, and I'm just going to do it. And the limping went away, and he's great. And I feel much better giving this one than the other stuff I was giving. So it does take some time to get into their system. And that's one of the things I make sure to tell my people, when they say, well, I've given it a few weeks and I don't see anything. Like, you've got to please just give it 3 months. Just do it, look away, whatever, do it for 3 months, then go ahead and see, okay, now what are you seeing for results? And for me, it's been fantastic, but I think that is definitely key.
So yeah, it does take time, and I think it's because and that's also true with basically any supplement. It's not overnight. Yes. It's not a drug.
Yes.
So
exactly.
Also, yeah, and it doesn't that's why I also really like our ingredients, because especially UC2, what it does is it helps train the immune system to have a healthier response to the inflammation that's happening in the joint. And so over time, you're really helping the body to have a healthier response, which will benefit us or our pups in the long run. So
right.
Time is very important. Like you said, 3 months is what studies show. We have objective results on ground force plate with UC2. So you're very right. And patience is key.
Yeah.
Sometimes we want changes to happen overnight, and it's not possible.
Yeah, that's a big one. The other question that I got the most of is, how old does a dog have to be? And I know we've talked before and you've said a year, but people are like, well, why should I give it to my 1-year-old? There's no problem yet. Is this like a prevention thing, or, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, so excellent question. We get it often, and I understand. If you're not seeing signs in your dog, you might be inclined to be like, well, I'll wait, and when I see there's a problem, that's when I'm going to act. Which, personally, from my experience with Pepsi, my bigger regret is not knowing that something could be started sooner to try to prevent, not so much so the disease itself from happening, because in the case of OA, if it's in your gene to have it, there's nothing that will stop that from happening. What you can do is delay the time where the occurrence will start, and you can also help delay the severity. So starting early is actually the best way to go, because when it comes to joint health, basically joints, they're a small structure, right? So overall, I'm trying to see. So I took some material as in case we need some educational material.
Yeah.
But you see, joints are actually a pretty small structure, right? Where you have here the bone, and then below another bone, you have a membrane here, and then you have some fluid inside. And so it's a very if you think about it, it's a pretty small structure where you're putting a lot of pressure on a daily basis.
Right.
And, you and I might be active. I know you walk a lot. I love the videos where, you're sharing your walks with your dogs, but dogs are even more active than us, right? Your puppies are crazy active, no?
Oh yeah. Jumping up on rocks, jumping down. Yeah.
So when we're doing that and we're moving a lot, what happens on a daily basis is our joints get constantly pressured. Whether it's mechanical stress, you're jumping, for example, if a dog jumps from the couch down, the joints, right, they have to stop your weight. You have to, so it puts a little bit of a mechanical stress on the joint. And what happens is that although it's normal and it's natural, the body reacts a little bit, and there can be some inflammation just due to normal activity.
Right.
So what happens is that over time, those micro events of inflammation, which are normal, they can accumulate, and they can help bring forward the time where arthritis or inflammation will become more degenerative and less healthy. So if you started early, for example, UC2, there's also a study done in young dogs. So it's an ingredient that has 2 studies in young healthy Labrador. Who ran for multiple days in a row, and they looked at inflammatory marker, recovery rate, and performance, and they gave either placebo or UC2, and they showed that with UC2, inflammatory marker decreased, the recovery improved, and performance also improved.
Wow.
And so when you're thinking about a young dog, the earlier you're able to basically support the joint for these daily little events, the better chances you have of delaying the time where maybe something will happen.
Okay.
So preventatively, like honestly, and it's also thinking just, you know, financially, I'm not saying that that should be the main reason, but if you're giving something every day that's, you know, for Jope, it's like under $2 a day, it might help reduce the financial burden of a dog that has OA. Because if you need to do surgery, you know, if you need to be on NSAIDs, if you need to do physiotherapy, that's also something that, you know, costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
And so, and more importantly for me, like seeing Pepsi suffer, just if I could have helped him not suffer as much or suffer, you know, for a shorter period of time, I would have just felt like just much better as a dog mom. And that's like my learning is like I had to learn with Pepsi the hard way. I want people to do better, like, you know, you and everybody else. And so I really think starting early is worth it. Of course, you're not going to see the results necessarily, but we do have some people saying, like, even I had a comment, I think yesterday on our website, where the person was sharing that if possible, his dog seemed to have even more energy because they maybe were
it can be good and bad.
so
do you think, is it 1 year and up, or 6 months? Like, what is your?
Yeah, so for large breed dogs, you could, if you really want to be proactive, you could even start as early as 6 months of age. But I would say 1 year, like one year, I would say is the right time to start. The reason also I would say 1 year is because studies show that there's actually 2 out of 10 dogs that are over 1 that have arthritis, even though it's not necessarily diagnosed. And that's a lot. Like 1 year is very young, and
very
you have
young.
2 out of 10. Yeah. So
that's awful.
Definitely start early, and you know, also joint health is something, just like, it's not just supplement, right? Like if you give Jope, great, but you also need proper diet, which I know you're an expert in, and you're educating people on. And you're learning, you're constantly learning. Like this is something, but this is very important, like diet and exercise. So you're focused on diet, you're focused on walking your 6 dogs every day. Maybe multiple times a day, from what I can tell. And that is key to joint health. Like our supplement won't replace that. But it can come and enhance what you're already doing, for example.
Yes, excellent. So this question, she asked, do you guys have one that doesn't have chicken in it? And I was looking at this, and it says meat allergy friendly. So what does that mean?
So actually, we're also changing the label again because it's a little bit of a trial and error when you're starting a company and you know, label regulation. But just to clarify a few things, so very good question. We get it a lot, so thank you for bringing it up. We do not have any chicken meat in our chews. The flavoring is actually vegan, so it's a vegan chicken flavor. I'm vegetarian. I don't eat meat. When I eat it, it tastes fine. It doesn't really taste like chicken for me, so I'm like, I think it's not real chicken, but sure. The other point is UC2 does come from chicken sternum, which is basically cartilage. So some people worry sometimes about, well, my dog has an intolerance to chicken. Should I still give Jope? But the thing is, if your dog is allergic or has an intolerance to chicken, generally it's to the meat. And in the meat, you don't have type 2 collagen, you have type 1. So it's a different type of protein. And so the likelihood of a dog who is intolerant to chicken to react to Jope, I say, would be very low because it's a different type of protein. And then the final important part too, which I think is harder to wrap our head around, but UC2 is not actually absorbed. So it works by triggering the immune system to redirect the inflammatory response towards a healthier one, but it doesn't actually go from the gut into the body. It stays outside, so it's not absorbed, and it stimulates cells in the digestive tract that signal to the brain and to the body what needs to happen, and it helps decrease inflammation at the joint level and also support cartilage production at the joint level as well. So it's not absorbed. So I would say I think it would be safe. However, you know, even so, if you're comfortable trying it, but your dog knows, you know, your dog has an intolerance or an allergy, just like try one chew, see how they do, and we will refund you if like you can't give it because they reacted to it. But I would say overall, we don't see a lot of reports of that, even in dogs that have known sensibility. And I think it's because the protein is different that they usually react to.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that makes sense. What am I? Oh, this is a good one. So this person gives their lab two chews a day. And is it better to give both at once or split it between the two meals? Or does it matter?
It doesn't really matter. That's the nice part. So as long as they're getting that amount during the day, it will be just as effective, and it can be with or without food.
Okay.
So there's no studies suggesting any concern if you're breaking it up.
Okay. All right. Is it okay or beneficial to continue chondroitin and the Jope at the same time?
So there's a study that was conducted. I like to go to studies because, you know, I want to be able to explain why we're saying what we're saying.
Yeah.
So there's a study, and actually it's the one that had the ground force plate, which I was explaining before, you know, this mat where dogs walk on.
Yep.
And what they did is they took a group of dogs, they gave them placebo or UC2 and glucosamine or glucosamine. And what they noticed is that if they gave glucosamine and UC2 at the same time, for some reason, it wasn't as effective. So UC2's benefit were canceled. So we recommend giving, if you want to continue, you would give one in the morning, one at night, or you would separate them 8 or 12 hours apart. Again, I just don't believe in the benefit of glucosamine because of studies and my experience with Pepsi. However, I know everybody's different. So if you like the product you're using, but you're like, you know, I feel my dog is plateauing, and if that product has glucosamine, give Jope like further apart. And preferably I would start with Jope like in the morning and then give the other one at night if possible.
Okay. All right. We already went over that one. Jope will help with the young dogs. Kind of funny. I don't even know what this is. Will this work on spondylosis?
Spondylosis. So that's it's the, you know, the spine. So there's inflammation in the spine, and there's no studies that have been done for like in dogs for spondylitis. Same thing for like intervertebral disc disease. So some people ask us about this as well. So I can't say I am confident it will benefit. I will say no other supplement has studies either. So should you choose one, ours is certainly as good of an option as others. But I think it would be a kind of a case-by-case basis. And I would say it's worth it.
Right, to just try it?
Yeah. I don't want to make guarantees though, because I don't feel comfortable doing that.
Right, because it's not really made for that.
No.
So you have other products in the works, or you're just, what's going on with that?
Yeah, we no, we are actively working on other products. And the kind of the general way that we're approaching it is the same thing. So we want to use science to formulate a product and then conduct a clinical trial on the product if possible. Like we have one currently going for our hip and joint supplement, but it takes a lot of time. It's double-blinded, placebo-controlled. And so actually what we want to do is bring a new treat soon. So we're working on it actively. If anybody knows of a good treat manufacturer, we would take a referral because we're struggling. Interesting. So that's really hard. If you know anybody who works in that industry and they know,
I'll have to think on that.
Let us know because we are very actively looking, and we'll send you some samples once we have it out. So and then we also have other supplements. We're hoping to bring to market 3 more by mid next year. Mostly focused on like digestive and kind of staying in that, you know, general wellness category. I don't want to reveal too much, but I think you're going to find it very interesting, and it remains like very scientific, very health focused, and longevity also focused, like healthy longevity.
Nice. Good. I can't wait. Okay, I think I went through everybody's questions. I didn't really see many coming up. I saw a few, but I think I answered them here a lot again with the age. What age can we start? Is there anything else you wanted to go over or let people know, or do you think we hit on all of it?
Well, did you have any other question for me? Because I know you do a lot with your dogs every day. So
Yeah.
did you have anything you were
Yeah,
curious
no,
about?
I don't. Some of my questions were, with my little thing I did the other day. I had to print it all out, and I thought, well, geez, I think they pretty much covered it for me. And I guess my big one was the allergy. I get a lot of people that say, well, my dog's allergic to chicken or sensitive, and I don't think I can give that. And I don't really know what to say, so I was like, well, I don't know.
I would say,
But it's nice to.
yeah, for them, tell them to try a bag, like buy a bag, and if they're not happy, they just email us for a refund, and they can donate to a shelter.
Yeah.
So it won't go to waste.
Right.
They won't have to pay if it's not working.
Right.
But it's a good way to do it. And again, honestly, most people report very good tolerance for any types of dog and their food restrictions.
Right.
So yeah, the other thing I'd love to add, just because again, I think you're very specific as to the product you bring on board. So things you might be interested in knowing is that we do submit every single batch to third-party guaranteed analysis. So what that means is that when you're reading our label here and you see the quantities of the active ingredients, we guarantee you that amount for every batch. And if it's not at least that amount or a little bit more, the product doesn't go to market. We also have certificate of analysis and certificate of origin for our ingredients. Manufacturer choosing a FDA SQF approved, GMP compliant, and NASC approved facility. We went to visit, and honestly, it's pretty incredible. I was like, oh, this is nice to see that where you're producing your product is outstanding. Absolutely. The team is great too. So we love to just mention them. And then what else? No, I think if you have questions, obviously you're a great resource. We always love to just try to help people, whether it's joint related. I am not allowed. I'm a veterinarian, not allowed to practice in the U.S. But if I can help you, answer some question, general wellness advice, would love to do that. If you want to do another live on a different topic that you've been wondering about and you'd like to chat about it, I'm more than happy to try to bring some expertise and just help anybody that has some questions.
Okay. And I think what I'll do is go back through once I save this and look at some of the questions, and maybe we can go over them another time, or I can send them to you and I can talk about them later.
Yeah.
Because I did see a few good ones kind of roll through. But I think if we
follow along too.
Yeah, me too. And I'm like, I think they said something. I don't know. So I'll go back through and do that. But how to reach you? Do they email you? Instagram? What's a good way if someone had some questions directly for you?
Yeah. So, I think the best way is just on our website. We have an amazing customer care team. So they help answer questions. They're trained. So Dr. Jeremy and I, we both spend time with them. They're awesome, and they care a lot, and they have a lot of good answers. But if there's something specifically that you want to address and you think it's more technical, you can just address it to Jeremy or to Dr. Christine. And then I will answer it. They'll transfer it to us and we'll answer. So the Instagram is great. Website, the email is contact@petjope. And we will certainly take care of you guys and make sure that, any question you have, we will answer. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. You made this super easy. Hopefully I can do the end right, which is save. I did it last time, so I'm like, if I wipe this out and I don't get to save it, we're gonna have to do it again. But
I don't.
Fingers crossed, right?
You're awesome, and I think you should do more of these lives.
Well, I plan on it. We've been trying to do this since I don't even know, March or before, I think. So we finally got the first one done, so that's good.
Well, I'm super excited for any other one. And again, I love what you do. I also was reading through a bit your story, and I realized that you kind of stumbled upon breeding without really expecting it, right? And now, is it your third litter or fourth?
No, I think I'm on my seventh. It'll be my seventh litter. So super newbie, I'm super new at it. But I love it. And I've learned a ton, and you learn a ton with every new litter. It never kind of goes as planned. And there's always something to learn. I could have, 400 litters and you still should be learning something. And if you're not, then you're not doing it right. So I definitely always am trying to learn and do better. And it's almost like the more you learn, the more you get into it, or really try to focus on your dogs and how to have them have the best life. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work, but they give it back. They give it back to me. I love them to pieces, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So I want them to live forever, and that's my plan. So we'll see how I do.
You can really tell, like, your Instagram is very personal, and like your voice is just very natural. So I love it. I would love to be as comfortable as you are, but I think you're doing a great job educating people. And again, we're just very grateful that you gave us a chance, and now you're helping us just educate more people.
Yes.
So seriously, thank you so much. Jeremy would be here if he could, but
yes, tell him I said hello.
I will.
All right, we'll talk again soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, man. Bye, everybody. Thanks for joining.
Bye-bye.